Super League basketball is levelling up British hoops. This isn't just a league, it's a movement you can feel and see in the stands. From the first tip to the final buzzer, the story is written. Every drive, every shot, and every moment. Rivalries run deeper, games hit harder. One pass, one dunk, everything can shift. Legacies aren't given here, they're earned. New stories are ready, and new champions are coming. Season 2 is here. Stand tall for British basketball.
Good afternoon and welcome to the AO Arena here in Manchester for the second major final of the SLB season. Trophy winners, the Braun Sheffield Hatters, are looking to add more silverware to the cabinet. But their opponents, Manchester Basketball, they're in their backyard and they'll be desperate to send the Manchester fans home happy in this War of the Roses rivalry. It's Sheffield against Manchester in the SLB Cup final, and we are live with you for what promises to be another afternoon of SLB drama and excitement. Welcome courtside. I'm Drew Lasker. She's Azania Stewart. Z, what an opportunity, what a moment for this Manchester basketball franchise.
Yeah, for both teams, right? The men have made the finals, but especially for the women. They're sitting in 6th in the championship, so for them to get here. But I was thinking this morning when, the last time I was in this building, I was playing for Great Britain versus USA. For me, a full circle.
Showing your age.
Fine wine, fine, but super excited for them.
Is there any added pressure for Manchester?
Super, I think there is. There's a lot of pressure because this isn't the Bellevue. Now this is a final. This is a beautiful arena. The lights are bright. You have to show up. You have to show out. This is going to be a tough team to beat. Yeah, what a wonderful story, but standing in their way, the Sheffield Hatters, who have been rolling this season, and they're talented. Yeah, for me, I think they're playing with all the confidence. They're well coached under Vanessa, great leadership. They've got this win under their belt, which I think is just going to help them step by step. And they got a great dub here. They manhandled Caledonia 80-62.
Yeah, they have been rolling throughout the SLB season so far. Well, we appreciate your insight, but let's dive deeper into the teams, beginning with the Sheffield Hatters, a roster that is so talented and an organization that is rich in history. Let's rewind and take a look at their road to the final.
We're very resilient. We've had a lot of challenges, a lot of ups and downs, but when we've stepped on the court, we've united, we've come together, and we seem to be able to put 40 minutes together.
When you're doing well, people are coming to knock you down, so people tend to play harder and want to beat you, so we're always facing high level of competition. So we just have to respect the opposition, focus, prepare for each game, and hopefully it's a positive outcome.
I grew up playing against Shauna and Georgia, and Ness is my England coach at the European Championships. I've kind of always been against them, and we've always been fighting, so to be now sharing a court with them and Ness being my coach, playing against Manchester almost feels wrong. My family are definitely, don't want to say they're rooting for Manchester and Ollie, but they're like, you've kind of gone to the dark side. But yeah, no, I'm really excited.
I feel like on any given day, anybody can drop 20. I think that's what makes us so hard to play against, is you can't just scout 1 or 2 people. And it's not even people that are in the starting 5. People that come off the bench can also be like a big addition to us. And I think we are very athletic, we're long, which means we can switch, we can get out and run. So again, it is so hard to guard.
It's a different feeling playing in an arena. It's the space, the noise, the crowd. And I think being there before, that it does help with that experience for the players.
Finals are special because you're always trying to play for some more silverware. Everybody wants a title in their bag. And this season we know we can compete for all of them. So I think there's that little added bit of pressure we've put on ourselves to make sure that we do come out on top.
Georgia Gill hinting at a clean sweep. See, are we beginning to see a dynasty here?
Yeah, you know what? This team is, the culture, the history with this team is excellent. And, you know, I definitely think there's some sort of, you know, legacy that they are building, even from last season, then coming in to winning the trophy, and they're just going step by step. I definitely think there's true legacy here.
Well, you got to make sure you take care of business today, but one player that will be on the top of that scouting report is Megan Mullins.
Well, for me, Megan, there she is. And you know what? I've been watching her warming up, and she's been smiling, dancing. She's been so relaxed, and I really love that. MVP from the trophy, 26 points and 9 rebounds and 4 assists. She hit a couple of threes. There she is with her three-point shot as well. Her percentage is fantastic. So I think that's definitely going to help her.
Yeah, you can see Megan, you can see the team just so loose that experience plays such a part in these games here. But there's one player that Manchester cannot forget about, and that is GB international superstar. And early on, Daniel Rowledge caught up with Georgia Gill.
Well, Georgia, obviously you've got a lot of experience in finals personally, but as a group, how important is it on a day like this that you've already been through it once this season?
I think it makes us a bit more comfortable. We don't have like the first time nerves anymore. So I think for this game, I think people will be more comfortable and ready to go.
And when you look at that Manchester team at the other end of the floor, you see what?
It's just another team, I guess, to us. No matter who we play against, we have to treat them all the same. We have to respect them. But it's more about us and what we do rather than about them.
Yeah, looking at that, you've got a lot of weapons on your team. That means on any given night, it could be any different player.
Yeah, exactly. That's the good thing about our team. It doesn't matter if someone's having an off game, because someone else will step up and do it too.
And already one trophy in the cabinet this year, a chance for a second one. That would be huge for the club.
Yeah, it'll be huge. We are actually hoping for all 4 this season, so today's got to be another statement.
Good luck in the game.
Last year's playoff final MVP. Describe Georgia Gill in one word.
Feisty.
Oh, there we go, right there. She is a straight-up baller. Well, that is the Sheffield Hatters. Now, let's move on to Manchester basketball. This is their time. This is their moment. Are they ready? Let's see in their road to the finals.
We started off the season pretty short-handed. Offensively, like we moved the ball and we scored well, but then defensively, like we kept Oakland and Leicester to low scoring, which was probably the proudest moment. And we're trying to go more and more into that defensive side, and then offense will just, that's where all the cameras are, and like threes, layups, steals and ones. But the defensive side is what we're pushing right now.
Manchester is special, and like because it is our hometown, and I have some family here too, so they being able to play in front of my nephew. He just turned 2 too. It's been like a privilege. I think I only ever won like 1 cup game in my whole career, so they're not really easy to come by, because they are in most leagues they are like one and done. So like to even reach the final is like amazing. We have to play our best basketball, but so does Sheffield, and like if we stay together, we stick together, we'll be fine.
We like to play fast, but we also like to play control basketball when the time is right. And we try to rep the home city, you know. And it's not going to be an easy game. You know, Sheffield is a great team, so we're just going to try to, like, hopefully all our fans will come out and support us and just bind together as a team and get the dub.
We've had it in the calendar all year, and we're quite realistic. Okay, like, can we get there game by game? And then when the opportunity arose, like, I was like, wow, okay, we're in Manchester. I'm from Manchester, so it's really cool to have that final here. And then for the club as well, like, we're growing as a club year by year, and now we've got the Manchester final. We can show what we're about.
I think he's speaking our language, defense, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he has his hands full, but what is the defensive plan required to take care of the Hatters?
Well, I think they're going to have to be physical. I think they've got to hit them early as they come down the court. You've got to hit them early, like I said.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the turnovers. Manchester can't afford to turn over the ball. They played each other earlier on in the trophy group stage, and Manchester turned over the ball 22 times. That cost them the game, and Sheffield scored 20 points. points off of that. They have to take care of the ball.
Well, no matter how good your defense is, Sheffield is going to find a way to generate points. So if you're Manchester, you got to keep scoring. Maya Brackton, she's going to have to dominate the paint.
Yeah, and I love how she plays. Honestly, she gives a little bit of a Xenia Stewart. She shoots the three, though. I never shot the three. There it is, her percentage at 34%. That's lovely. 52 from the two, and then averaging nearly that double-double. But the way she takes her time, she's methodical. Nobody speeds her up. Her touch around the basket, you know, nice reverse. She stretches the floor. So she's going to have to be big. She has to score a lot tonight.
Well, she's going to be Xenia Stewart. That means she has to go 9 for 9 in a final. Yes. No pressure, Maya. Well, Manchester are ready for their moment. They're ready for the bright lights. And one player who is ready to rep the city, Tiara East, earlier caught up with Dan Routledge.
Well, Tiara, a big day for the club in the final. What's the build-up this week been like for this game?
It's been very exciting, you know, with all the media and then like practicing, getting ready for the scout, studying the scout, going over everything we know to be able to get the win.
And when you think about that scout and you look at that Sheffield team, what's the biggest concerns for you guys?
The biggest concern is making sure we control the game and just make sure our defense is in tip-top shape.
And obviously being at home, Manchester crowd hopefully behind you today as well.
Yeah, like we hope they come out and cheer us on, us and the guys, to be able to help us get this win.
And what's the most important thing for you guys that you have to do at the offensive end to ensure that you can get a big enough number on the board to win this game?
Run our plays right, move the ball, and just play together. That's it.
Good luck in the game.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Well, 3 minutes until tip-off, Z. Right now, at this moment, what are the players feeling in their body?
Oh, that's a good question. How I'm feeling now, excitement, really tingling. But I think definitely for Sheffield, they were here, you know, only a few weeks ago, and that experience would definitely help. On the other side, Manchester, this is their first big final. I think they will be feeling a mixture of nerves, adrenaline should be going, but overall, we saw them looking pretty relaxed.
Yeah,
how are you feeling?
I'm ready to go, actually. But elaborate on those things that you struggle with if you're unexperienced from the environment sort of things.
Yeah. Well, just in general, right? There's a crowd. You've never played in front of this big arena. But I think when I was playing as a player, I used to just take my time, treat it as it's not the same game because it is a final, but just let the game come to you. Do the little things. You need to set good screens.
Hey.
You need to roll. Finish around the basket, and that just kind of gets you back into the game.
Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. You got that expertise from a champion, but now the atmosphere is beginning to build. You can start to feel the energy. It's only right that I start to pass you to our commentary team, Hannah Alty and sweet Caroline Bullock.
Thanks, Drew. It's a great atmosphere here at the AO Arena. The atmosphere is just electric.
It really is, Kaz. It's wild in here. You can feel the fans are really getting into it today.
So let's take a look at the starting fives for both teams as we're now just under 2 minutes away from tip-off. Starting with Manchester basketball, and it will be Franny Hottinger, Irina Boado, Maya Bracker, Vera Peertonen and Tiara East. Led by head coach Ollie Parr and assistant Greg Mapofu. And if we take a look at the starting five for the Sheffield Hatters, it will be Shauna Harrison, Megan Mullings, Jess Eatsworth-Yates, Georgia Gale and Antoinette Lewis. A slightly shorter bench today for the Sheffield Hatters, and they are led by Vanessa Ellis alongside her assistant Tyler Gale. So Hannah, what are we expecting from today's game? These are two teams that have not met up since November in the league.
Yeah, Kaz, I mean, on paper, when we look at the championship stats, because obviously, you know, there's a bigger sample size, they've played more games, these two match up pretty evenly. You know, you've got Sheffield in first place in points per game. They've got 88.1 points per game. Manchester in fourth with only 82.2 points per game. So they're only just behind them. You know, and they're very closely evenly matched. So on the 3-point shooting percentage, Sheffield are shooting at 32.6% behind the arc, with Manchester shooting 31.8% behind the arc, and both teams averaging 18 turnovers. And I think, you know, it's completely different when you're in a final. The atmosphere, the lights, the big arena, it can really change a game for teams. So I think when it comes down to a final, it's about which team will stick to their game plan, which team will stay composed and focused. You know, Georgia Gale mentioned it in her interview that, you know, they don't have first-time nerves. They've been in these finals before. Manchester haven't. So I think there might be a little bit of an advantage for Sheffield like that today.
Certainly, as teams come out onto the floor, and it will be Manchester playing in white today and Sheffield in blue. Sheffield, of course, winning the trophy, the Betty Cardona Trophy in January in Birmingham. They've spoken about their goal for this season. They want the quadruple. They want the trophy, the cup, the league, and the playoff titles.
I mean, you know, Sheffield are, you know, they're the dynasty of women's basketball in the UK. They've been winning silverware since the 1960s, Kaz, and they've really helped build women's basketball in this country. So it's just what you expect from Sheffield today, isn't it? They'll come in, they'll be big, they'll be strong, and they're going to try and take control of this game as well.
And it's going to be very important for both teams. They'll aim to come out strong as teams are now out on the court. And for the tip, it will be Antoinette Lewis for Sheffield and Maya Bratka for Manchester. So the 2026 Super League Cup Final here at the AO Arena in Manchester is underway, and the ball is up, and the first possession goes to Sheffield. Mullings can't get it to fall, but that is the pace that Sheffield are going to come out with.
It really is, and you know, the game's just started. It takes a second to settle in, so you know the basket will start dropping soon.
And ball's over to Obodo on the baseline, out to East, has space, and the shot's too strong, out of bounds. It will be Hatter's ball. Both teams coming out very quickly. No need to get warmed up. As Edithsmith Yates will set things up for the Hatters. Edithsmith Yates signing with Sheffield in January. And what a pickup she's been for Sheffield. As Harrison drives to the basket and gets her own rebound. But last touch on that will be Manchester. So Sheffield possession. 7 seconds on the shot clock.
I think we should also mention that Jess Eastforth Yates moonlights as Emirates cabin crew as well in the NBA Europad.
She does, doesn't she?
She does.
Multi-talented.
She is.
As ball's loose, Obodo has it for Manchester. Over to East. East stops, pulls up, long two, gets the roll, and Manchester get onto the scoreboard first here at the AO Arena. And that's something Tiara East does very well, that mid-range shot.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, Manchester are going to want to move the ball quick today.
As Gale can't get the three to fall, but that is the shot Georgia Gale wants, a lights-out shooter from behind the arc. As Manchester have possession, Oboado, the 17-year-old out on the floor for Manchester. As she finds a path to the basket, can't get it to go that time. And Edithsmith Yates. Ball's into Lewis. Lewis stops, working away inside. It's off the rim.
That was some great footwork, though.
Ball will go out of bounds. Too much on the pass there. And Sheffield will have possession back.
I think Sheffield are doing a really good job at the minute of stopping the transition for Manchester. You know, Manchester, they like to run. That's their identity. They thrive on momentum and pace. So I think for Sheffield today, stopping that transition is going to be key.
Absolutely. So Harrison has Hottinger on her. But Hottinger takes it, gets the steal. Hottinger to the basket. Too much on it. And Harrison back down the floor. Going to go and kick it out to Lewis. Eadsforth-Yates. Eadsforth-Yates spinning to the basket, hangs in the air and backs it in.
What a move. She's such a shifty guard. She's really good at getting herself and manoeuvring her body in a way to get herself to the basket.
And that's why she's been such an important addition to this Hatters team.
She really has.
2-2 here in the first quarter. Aboado keeps the ball alive.
And great defence there from Jess as well.
Bratka, 3 seconds on the clock. Bratka drives in, doesn't get it to drop. And Manchester will have another chance from outside. As Gale for Sheffield. Round to Harrison. Ball's into Lewis, but good hands there from Bratka, knocks the ball away. We've seen that now a couple of times from Manchester, but then a miscommunication on the other end.
Yeah, that's one of the things they're going to have to exploit. If they're getting these steals, they are going to have to then exploit and get the score at the other end.
Because Sheffield are such a difficult team to come up against. As Lewis, count it, and the foul. Antoinette Lewis with a tough basket for the Hatters. She'll go to the line for a chance at a three-point play. And as we were just saying, Hannah, Sheffield are such a tough team. If you make a mistake, they will make you pay.
They really will. I mean, what a shot there, Kaz. I'm just watching this replay from all angles.
That's an incredibly difficult finish from Lewis. Playing in her first season for Sheffield, was out in Croatia last year. As she gets the three-point play and will give Sheffield a 3-point lead here in the first quarter. Nicolette Fairley into the game for the first time for Manchester. A player that has been on this stage before. Playing for the Durham Palatinates as East goes all the way to the basket. And Gale has the ball knocked out of bounds. It will be Manchester possession.
Tiara East is such an explosive guard. She really absorbs the contact when she drives to the basket, and she gets rewarded with those effort plays. Sheffield are really going to have to lock in on her and stop her getting down the lane.
And it was Tiara East that stepped up really strongly in the semi-final when Manchester were playing Oaklands, when they were without leading scorer Franny Hottinger. So we've got our first foul against Sheffield. That will be against Eadsforth-Yates. And it'll be Manchester ball from the sideline. Peartonin will take it. So Manchester coming through the semi-final against the Oaklands Wolves as Fairley launches a three, won't drop. And Sheffield against the Caledonia Gladiators as the ball just goes out of bounds. And both teams here, Hannah, after that very quick start in the first couple of minutes, we've got a timeout called here, so teams can talk it over, but they maybe just need to settle a little bit.
Yeah, I think they do. I think both teams coming out with, some first quarter nerves, which is understandable. So it will take a second to settle. But I think realistically, looking at this, Sheffield are doing a fantastic job of breaking that transition run from Manchester. They're making them slow the game down, and which is what Sheffield are very good at. Their defence is solid. Every player knows their role, which makes it very hard for opponents to find the gaps, which I think is what Manchester are struggling with at the moment. They're struggling to kind of make the right shots. They've had a great drive there from Tiara Reese, which is exactly what they need. So I think for them right now, they just need to look at moving the ball a little bit better.
And we did mention it a little bit before pre-game, but Sheffield have been on this stage before. They were here this time last year at the Cup final against the Oaklands Wolves. They came up short. Vanessa Ellis said, we need to learn from that, we need to move on. And then they finished the season strong, winning the playoff final, then the trophy in January. So Sheffield rolling.
They are, and they're really setting a standard as well for the league. I think they're going after all 4 titles this year, which I think for them they're going to have to. It comes with expectation, and it does come with that pressure as well.
And as Georgie said as well, when you're the team at the top of the table, you're the team that's winning, you've got a target on your back.
You do, and I think Manchester are going for that target today.
So back out onto the floor, it's Manchester possession, it's a 1-point Sheffield lead. Just over 6 minutes to play in the first quarter. Fairley against Eadsforth-Yates, round to Bratka. East puts it up, that's short. And Sheffield will get it back. Gale. Over to Eatsforth-Yates. Eatsforth-Yates calling for the screen. Swings it back round to Mullings. Good ball movement here from Sheffield, and Harrison drains the three. And that is that quick ball movement from Sheffield, that outside look. That is how they have played all season long.
Yeah, absolutely. They really focus on moving the ball and making the correct shot, not just a shot, but the correct shot.
As Bracker draws the foul underneath the basket. So 2 free throws to come here for Maya Bracker. Bracker having just represented the Estonian national team during the international break, which was last week. And we will see Nina Crisper check into the game for the first time for the Hatters. And Eva Karashaita in for Manchester. And Hannah, that is something that both teams have had to deal with. There's players that have been playing internationally during the break for both teams. 4 players on Sheffield and 2 on Manchester. How does that impact the preparation?
I mean, it does have quite an impact because, you know, you're not having a chance to kind of go through things as a team, and there's that gap then in your training. But I think also it does add a little bit of value as well in terms of bringing that experience to the league and back home to your teams.
Bracker cuts the lead down to 3 with the free throw as Mullings in the corner. Not that time, and Manchester are off and running down the floor. East looking to get it into Bracker. This matchup against Nina Crisper, and Bracker inside is going to be one to watch.
It really is. Both players very physical, both liking to take contact. So I think you're right. I think it's going to be a good one.
As Eatsforth-Yates works round the outside. Harrison thought about it. Over to Crisper. Eatsforth-Yates is there. 6 seconds on the shot clock. And ball's taken away by Bracker. East will back the ball out, wait for the team to catch up. That's a good decision there from East. Manchester didn't have the numbers as Eatsforth-Yates pokes the ball away and will have a clear path to the basket and lay it in for 2. And Eatsforth-Yates is what we like to call such a pesky defender.
She really is. She'll be all over it, getting her hands in the way.
5-point lead for Sheffield. East needs some help, looking to pass out of it, and Harrison takes the ball. Mullings racing to the basket, and 2 more for Sheffield. And that will force Manchester to take a timeout. And a quick run there, the last few possessions from Sheffield. They forced the turnover and they score.
They did. I mean, their defence is just smothering Manchester at the minute. You know, they're not even allowing them to get over the halfway line. So I think this is something that Manchester just need to compose themselves a little bit. They're gonna have to stick to their game plan, get the ball up the court and be able to really just move effectively off each other. Look for those passing lanes, make sure that, you know, you're just taking care of the ball as well.
And it can be quite difficult, can't it, when you come up against a team as strong as Sheffield are that want to disrupt your game plans. So Sheffield will want to play their way, but they'll also want to force Manchester to play a certain way. And you have to trust in yourself and your team and play the way that got you here.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Manchester's got some fantastic players on this roster that, you know, have got all this experience that they can compose themselves in a game like this. You know, if they stick to their game plan and stick to the way they play. Like you said, the game that they played against Oakland, we had some fantastic performances there. We got to see Maya Bracker have an absolute phenomenal performance. And, you know, go back to what you know. Go back to moving that ball, looking inside to Maya Bracker, looking for the drives from Irina Boda and Tiara Reese. Those are what's going to get you those points on the board today.
Definitely. And for Sheffield as well, they drive to the basket, they'll draw in that defense and then kick the ball out to the three-point line, and they are so dangerous from outside. As a couple of substitutions here for both teams coming out of the timeout. So Chantel Charles will take the floor for the Sheffield Hatters alongside Grace Graham, and for Manchester, Jory Davis into the game for the first time. And we've just got a stop here as referees confirming something with the table. And I think there might just be an issue with the numbers on the score sheet. So while I get that sorted out, we can take a look at how the teams got here. So for Sheffield, they came through against the Caledonian Gladiators in the semi-final. A Caledonia-Sheffield matchup has just been, throughout the last couple of years, it's just been so fun to see.
It really has. It's been aggressive. It's been fast. It's been one of those games where you really don't know how it's going to turn out.
So back on the floor, it's Manchester possession. They're looking to cut into this 5-point lead. It's under 4 minutes to play in the first quarter. Davis a signing with Manchester earlier this year. As Karashaita spins, kicks it out. Bracker, 4 seconds on the clock. And ball's knocked out of bounds. Mullings forces Manchester to reset from the sideline. 1.9 seconds on the shot clock. And Manchester will have to go quickly here. You can't take too much time off the clock dribbling.
It really is a catch and shoot in this situation.
Balls into Bracker, out to Obodo. Obodo for three! Drains it! And that's great communication there from Manchester, exactly what they wanted to see. And ball stolen away by Bracker at the other end. And Obodo will set things up. Obodo will be heading to Boston College in September, playing in her first season here in the Super League. She's had a great start to the season and certainly a player to watch out there for Manchester, as Karashaita will be called for the foul. And we can see there, great touch pass from Bracker over to Obodo. The veteran and the rookie out there for Manchester.
She really is. She's a player that's developing so quickly as well. You know, Manchester are trusting her to deliver right now.
Oh, what a pass into Crisper and a fantastic finish under the basket. Sheffield, such a well-oiled machine out there on the floor. Obodo, round to Pearsonin. Pearsonin drives to the basket. It's tipped, but Lewis comes away with it for Sheffield. Gale, round to Graham. Crisper backing down inside. And Manchester trying to chip into this lead as Obodo drives all the way. And Irene Obodo will go to the foul line for two. And that's that very quick first step from Obodo, that skip into the run to the basket.
Yeah, she's got a great skill the way she drives to the basket. It's a little hesitation step, and she just explodes down the lane.
Shauna Harrison subs in for Sheffield. And Irene Obodo, so heading to Boston College, that's a huge achievement for the young player. Was with the Division 1 Manchester Mystics in the WNBL last season, makes the move up to the Super League, and she's been averaging just under 13 points a game for Manchester this season.
And what a moment for her as well. You know, she's come through the Manchester Junior programme. She's earned her GB senior debut, and you know, she's here now in Manchester playing for her hometown.
Goes 2 of 2 from the line. Yeah, certainly a lot of support for Obodo in the crowd. A lot of the younger fans as well from the Mystics coming out to watch her as she's called for the foul at the other end, and that will be the third team foul on Manchester.
I mean, I think I can definitely hear her mum's Judith with the drum.
Got a nice crowd building here as well at the AO Arena. As ball's into Charles, hands off to Harrison. Graham. And Bracker will be called for the foul. That will put Manchester on 4, so the next one will put them in the bonus.
Yeah, that was a tough foul there from Bracker. I think it was her body positioning. She was stood a little bit behind, so when she reached in, she was unfortunately called for the foul on that one. She just needs to shift her body positioning a little bit and get herself set.
And that's Bracker's second. As Gale to the basket, and Georgia Gale gets onto the scoreboard for Sheffield. Just a name synonymous with Sheffield basketball as Obodo to the hoop. And it's a 4-point Hatters lead. Gale. Round to Graham. Crisper. Long pass over to Harrison.
that ball movement there from Sheffield, it just really helped shift the defence. The way that pass, the lob pass across court, it really moved Manchester and helped create open up lane the lane, which is really important when you're coming up in a final against a tough defence. You have to make sure that you're staying, you're not staying stagnant, that you're moving and you're moving the ball well.
As Harrison hits the first and the second, 2 of 2 from the line for Harrison, extends the lead back to 6 for Sheffield. Fairley against Graham. Out to East, 3's up. Doesn't drop, and Crisper secures the rebound. Harrison stepping through. What a move from Harrison. And a whistle against Manchester. And was that on Bratka for Manchester? Because Bratka on 2 fouls. So Bratka and Abodo on 2 fouls for Manchester. And it was on Bratka, so she will go to the bench. And that's a difficult situation for Manchester here.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. Bratka's, she's their main physical presence inside. So I think this is going to be interesting to see how Coach Ollie Parr now, how he manages his rotations.
And Harrison goes 2 of 2 again from the line. So 4 quick points for Shauna Harrison, and she's leading Sheffield with 7 points so far. And it is Eva Karashaita that's come in place of Bratka on those 3 fouls for Manchester. Hottinger goes baseline, stops, doesn't drop, and Karashaita came in from nowhere for the offensive board. Manchester will have another chance. Final minute of the first quarter. East goes all the way, doesn't fall, and ball's on the floor. It's a jump ball call. And possession's going to stay with Manchester, but teams absolutely hustling there.
They really are. I think Manchester are just struggling right now to get the ball to drop. Now, we have to remember, Kaz, this is a new court. Like, they might not be quite used to the baskets yet, so they are missing a lot. So I think they do need to focus, because they're getting some great looks. They're driving to the basket fantastically and really looking for those great outside shots. So I think they just maybe need to focus a little bit on the backboard.
Just Davis looking to get the ball in for Manchester. Fairley's there, 1 second on the clock, and Karashaita fires. It's off the rim, but it's picked up. And another offensive board for Manchester. Hottinger working underneath. That's a tough move from Franny Hottinger. And she picks up her first points of the game. Gale takes it, blocked by Hottinger, but Lewis picks up the rebound. And a foul called on the shot, so 2 more free throws to come here for Sheffield. Manchester in the bonus. And foul will go against Tiara East, that's her first.
What a move there by Franny Hottinger. Great drop step there on the reverse.
Really takes her time to the basket as Lewis hits the first free throw. Antoinette Lewis averaging just over 13 points a game and 5.6 rebounds for the Hatters this season. Gets both at the line, and Sheffield have really been able to take advantage of those foul calls.
Yeah, they have. They've been shooting really well from the free throw line, and those points matter in a final like this. They add up.
8-point Hatters lead. Davis from the elbow, can't get it to go, and Sheffield can hold for the last shot here as Cheyenne Stubbs into the game with 4 seconds. 3 seconds, ball's going to go out of bounds, and that will do it for the first quarter as the Sheffield Hatters take a 22-14 lead over Manchester. And leading the way for the Hatters, Shauna Harrison with 7 points personal. She's come out firing for the Hatters.
She has. She's been physical, she's been quick, she's been really, really tough. And I think that's what Manchester are struggling to match up against at the moment. Looking at the stats here, we can see Manchester are shooting 5 from 19. They've not been hitting. They really need to focus on their finishing. Sheffield, shooting at a nice 54% here. And I think, their free throws, there you go. 7 from 7, and free throws matter in a game like this. They add up. So yeah, I think Manchester just need to focus more on their finishing at the moment. It feels like they're not quite getting the chance to execute. They're really struggling against this Sheffield defence, you know, and we've talked about it before, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about it for the entire game because it's so incredibly structured. Their rotations are clean and they switch so smart, and I think that's something that Manchester are just going to have a rethink about.
It's literally what coaches teach you, isn't it? You're on a string on defence and you're just following your play around, and they're just so in tune together.
Yeah, they are, and I think for Manchester as well, they've been doing well rebounding. You know, they have struggled in the last few games. In a semi-final against Oakland, they had 7 offensive rebounds. That's not great, but today already they're on 4, so they're stepping up, which, you know, it shows that they understand the situation, they understand the event, and they've shown up today in terms of crashing the boards, because they've got to come up against Antoinette Lewis and Nina Christopher, who will be physical under the basket, so they've got to box out and go after those second chance points.
And second chance points, you mentioned it, but it was dominance from Sheffield in the trophy final in the paint. They had 21 second chance points and they held Caledonia to just 1, and they were a team that are going to make it so difficult for you under the basket, and that they are going to make you work for every single point.
Oh, absolutely.
So back underway for the second quarter. Sheffield up 22-14. Stubbs finds Gale. Oh, great pass inside to Harrison, can't finish. As Manchester down the floor, looking to cut into this deficit. Out to East, 3's up, off the back iron, and a huge rebound there from Lewis. And this is something, so Sheffield, without Maya Bracker on the floor, can certainly take advantage of that space inside.
Yeah, definitely. They can really look to drive inside.
Balls with Gale. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Gale out to the corner. Stubbs lines it up, knocks it down. And Sheffield only 1-3 in the first quarter, and we know they're a team that like to shoot that, and they have the three-point shooters out there. It was just 1 of 2, so they were more going inside.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you come into a final like this, the first 10 minutes, you just kind of want to find your feet. So maybe just settling into kind of taking some easier shots.
As East does not take an easy shot, and Tiara East will go to the foul line for a chance for the bonus. As she drives to the basket, she has that long reach.
She really does.
And a really strong finisher from the left-hand side is East.
I mean, but that's what she does. You know, she drives so hard to the basket. She draws that contact, and her downhill play always forces the help to rotate, which can then disrupt the defense.
As she gets the free throw. 3-point play complete for Manchester as Stubbs.
Manchester can't sleep on that. Sheffield have done that a few times now, where they've pushed the ball up in transition through that lob pass, and Manchester cannot sleep on it.
So Sheffield will go again from the end line. That's Hottinger's first team foul on Manchester this quarter. And we have Megan Mullings back into the game. Oh, what a pass under the basket. And Manchester will pick up a second quick foul. And that'll be Karashaita's second. So looking at the scoreboard here, Hannah, we have Irina Boado, Eva Karashaita and Maya Bracker on 2 and 3 fouls for Bracker. And for Sheffield, just Lewis on 2.
Yeah, they're struggling a little bit here. I think Manchester just needs to be a bit more disciplined on defence. But I just want to talk about that slip there from Mullins. What a move. The way she read her defence to drive to basket. So it's when you set a screen, but you just only set it for half a second and slip to the basket for that backdoor cut. Stunning.
And Mullins converts the free throw. Sheffield up 9 here in the first half. Davis, round to Karashaita. Finds East. East in her first season for Manchester basketball. Drives the baseline, Pearson in, extra pass over to Karashaita. Nothing but net. As Garashiter splashes in 3 and cuts the lead down to 6. Mullings has it. And a travel called at the other end, and a good stance there from Hottinger.
Yeah, really good stance. Evers' catch and shoot technique is my favourite in the league. It is so skillful and so quick. She's so able just to stay on balance when she does it. It's honestly, it's so good to watch.
And it never changes.
Never
the
changes.
Shot never changes.
Never changes.
So Manchester, a chance to put this to a single possession game here as Karashiter has the ball. Hottinger against Crisper. Out to Karashiter, a deep 3. That one's short, but Gamal into the game, grabs the rebound. And Peartonen looking to reset for Manchester. 5 seconds and a long 3. Bounces off the rim. And again, a great save from Gamal, straight into the game, getting Manchester those extra opportunities. A shot short for Hottinger, but the hustle there.
Real hustle. I mean, she's young and exciting. She really just comes off the bench with that bright spark.
And Gale takes it all the way. Gale gets the foul call. So Georgia Gale goes to the stripe for 2. And Manchester picking up the fouls early on. That's their 3rd. We still have 7:14 to play here in the second quarter. And we will see Maya Bratka come back in with Eva Karashiter heading to the bench. So Georgia Gale at the foul line was representing Great Britain during the international window last week. Had a fantastic game against Austria where she dropped 8 points. And she takes herself up to 4 here in the second quarter. Leads back up to 8 for Sheffield. East. And Charles takes the ball away. Mullings off and running and lays it in. And Megan Mullings is always working on the court. She is down there in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, both ends. I mean, she just swallowed the ball there on defence and just pushed in transition. She works so hard at both ends of the basket.
As it leads up to double figures for Sheffield East with a short floater. Does it back down to single digits. Stubbs with a long 3. Oh! All the way from Sheffield. And you talk about Manchester cutting into the lead, and they've done that a couple of times as we have a 5-second call on the inbound. So Sheffield will get it back, and this defence smothering.
It is, and I think Manchester are just falling asleep a little bit at the moment. You know, they left that perimeter shot wide open, and then, you know, the guards running away on the inbound. Just need to step it back up a little bit.
Crisper swings it round to Mullings. Back out to Crisper. 3 doesn't drop. And it'll be Manchester possession. And a timeout called by head coach Ollie Parr for Manchester as the Sheffield Hatters have an 11-point lead here in the first half, 33-22. Shauna Harrison leading the way with 7 points and 2 rebounds for the Sheffield Hatters. And it's Irina Bodo with 7 points for Manchester. And Tiara East on 9. East shooting 40% from the field. Also with a rebound. So Hannah, we talked about the inside game earlier, but Sheffield 12 points in the paint to Manchester's 8.
Yeah, I think for them at the minute, they're just working really hard to get themselves to the basket. They're also taking advantage of these fouling by Manchester. I think it'd be silly not to. I think they need to be really driving to basket, looking for those inside shots. You know, Manchester aren't as disciplined anymore under the basket, and they are giving away free throws. So why not go after it? I think for them as well, they're just shooting a lot better as well from their field goal percentage. They're 52% again. They're just stepping up a little bit more. They're looking a little more focused as well on court.
And again, can it play into the fact that Sheffield have been here before? They were on this stage in January at the trophy final, won the playoff final last year. They have had 7 new signings, so 4 returning players for Sheffield, but that core and that ethos of we know what to expect on this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they have the experience and they really know what it takes to reach this stage.
So back on the floor, Obodo working against Eastford Yates. Swings it out to the corner. As East steps back and drains it. That's a great shot from East. And again, coming out of the timeout, Coach Ollie Park calls the timeout. That's what you want your team to do.
Yeah, I mean, she just comes out with this explosive energy. And she's just so great at making those very off-balance shots. I mean, my ankles could never.
Charles into Crisper. Back to Charles. 4 seconds on the clock. Crisper has space for three. And shot rolls off. That's a good look for Crisper. And something that makes her so dangerous is she's just as strong inside as outside.
They're the worst players to guard because you really can't.
What do you do?
What do you do? You really can't judge it.
Obodo, it's a Pearsonin. Pearsonin looking for a path, kicks it out. Bratka round to Obodo. And Obodo blocks inside. Rejected, but East is fouled on the shot. And Tiara East will go back to the line. Oh, what a rejection there from Sheffield. Manchester able to recover, though.
They were. That was some great ball movement. A fantastic drive from Irene there. And then Tiara East just coming out of nowhere, swiping the ball out of Sheffield's hands.
And that will be the second team foul against Sheffield as East heads to the foul line. Coming out of Temple University in Philadelphia, where she played last season. Spent 4 years there. She's increased her scoring and assist averages each season and just really shows her commitment to a game. So she goes 2 of 2 from the line. It's a 7-point game. Charles stops and ball's knocked out of bounds. Last touch, Manchester.
Good hands there from Hottinger. She's really good at reading the game on defense.
Charles, back to Gale. Has East on her. Gale, passes underneath the basket to Crisper. East will be whistled for the foul, and that'll be, if that's on East, that will be foul number 3 on East. So with Maya Bratka on 3 fouls for Manchester, and Tiara East now on 3. We'll see Jory Davis come into the game. And Crisper gets the first free throw. Is that a difficult position here for Manchester?
It is, Kaz, but I'll always refer back to that game where we watched Franny Hottinger and Maya Bratka play an entire half on 4 fouls.
True, yeah.
They have done it before. So if they can remain disciplined, they can do it.
Players that are experienced know how to be able to deal with that. So Obodo over to Bratka. Manchester looking to chip into this Hatters lead. Pearsonin, back to Bratka, 4 seconds on the clock. Obodo, too much on it. And Charles back down the court, and again it's Megan Mullings off and running. And shot will spin out, but she gets her own rebound. Can't finish on the second chance. And Davis out to Hottinger. 3 is good for Franny Hottinger. And lead is back down to 6. Oh, excuse me, that was a long 2 as Eastford Yates can't answer for Sheffield, and a whistle on the floor. So a long 2 on that last shot. Hottinger just with her foot on the line, you can see.
Oh, that's tough. But again, another player that's got that composure to take those shots in the big moment. And also a big as well. Somebody like Franny Hottinger, you know, we talked about Nina Crisper being a difficult player to guard. Franny Hottinger as well, you know, she's so good from that perimeter, but also so strong inside as well.
So Manchester possession, Obodo. To Bratka. You see how quick Mullings gets to the ball as Hottinger takes it inside, leaves it short, gets her own rebound and finishes on the second try. It's a 5-point game. Just over 3 minutes left in the first half. Crisper to Charles. Gale. Gale goes inside, not that time, and Hottinger leading the way for Manchester. As Davis lines it up, splashes it in from the outside, and it's a single possession game. And Jory Davis, that's the experience of the 33rd pick in the WNBA draft in 2011.
Yeah, you just took the words out of my mouth, Kaz. I mean, again, someone with the...
Oh, and Georgia Gale answers for Sheffield.
I think we've got a shooting game here today, Kaz.
It's raining threes in Manchester. It's usually just raining. And a foul at the other end. Now that is Georgia Gale range. She is an absolutely lights-out shooter.
She really is. You cannot leave her open. I mean, in the GB game during the week, she had a low shot. The deep three she shot, and she's so confident from taking those. You really have to make sure that you do not sleep on her on the perimeter.
I called that. I was like, oh, Caitlin Clark range. And then I thought, no, that's Georgia Gale range. We need a new term.
We do.
So, a 5-point game, fairly. Into the game for Manchester, out to Peartonin. Won't fall. As Fairley will be called for the blocking foul, and that's going to put Sheffield at the line for the rest of the quarter. 2:21 to play as Chantel Charles shooting two. And Charles, again, one of the Sheffield players, so alongside Georgia Gale and Shauna Harrison, Chantel Charles representing Great Britain in the international window. And then Nina Crisper with the Austrian national team.
I mean, Nina Crisper is just such a great player. She really brings that defensive intensity.
2 of 2 from the line for Charles. Stretches the lead back up to 7. Manchester looking to respond. Fairley to Peartonin. Into the corner. And it's intercepted. Harrison back out onto the floor. Instant impact. And Harrison will do it on both ends of the floor, offense and defense, as Mullings calling for it inside. Mullings, oh, what a shot from Megan Mullings! That couldn't have been any harder.
It really couldn't. I mean, the hang time she took then.
I think she was deciding what she's going to eat for lunch later. Peartonin can't answer for Manchester, and Mullings grabs the rebound.
I mean, she just works so hard at both ends of the court. Like, she goes after every single defensive rebound, offensive rebound. Tough shots.
Harrison with space, nets it! And Sheffield back rolling, and this is a team that score in bursts, as they are showing right now.
Yeah, they do. They really take their time with these runs. They like to build up momentum. They choose their shots. They're very precise with their shot choice and shot selection.
So we had a whistle on the floor. I didn't catch that, Hannah. It will be Manchester shoot. So foul on Sheffield then now on 5 fouls.
Yeah, it was a foul on East 58 and Nicolette Fairley at the line.
So both teams in the bonus for the last 1 minute 19 of the half as Fairley hits the first free throw. Fairley, the all-time leader in free throws made in the top flight league, gets them both.
She is a player that you actually can't curse either. Like the commentators curse. Like she's so good at her free throws.
So Fairley will go to the bench, and Aboado checks in for Manchester. It's a 10-point Hatters lead. Manchester had cut it down earlier on, but Sheffield just able to answer and stretch the lead back out as a turnover forced by Manchester will get them the ball back.
Manchester are not going away here. You know, they keep chipping at it, they get in their runs, and I think if they keep bringing this momentum into the second half, they're just going to get better and better.
And East looking to create some space, pulls up, and again it's that mid-range shot from East.
It is.
She's up to 15 points, leading all scorers.
Another player there as well that can take really good off-balance shots.
And Graham's shot spins out as ball's tipped bouncing about everywhere. And great hustle from Charles, who comes up with it, drops it over to Lewis as a basket's waved off. Foul's called on the floor. And that's going to be on Aboado. So now we have Irene Aboado, Maya Bratka and Tiara East all on 3 fouls for Manchester.
I would just look at the foul there. I think, yeah, she was moving on that. She came across as Chantal Charles drove.
And again, the experience of Chantal Charles, a player that was with the London Lions a few years ago. Has 11 Super League and WBBL titles. Gets the second, stretches the lead back into double figures for Sheffield. Aboado looks to get it over the halfway line. And Aboado will take it all away, gets the whistle. So we'll go back to the free throw line. And Sheffield, they're certainly taking advantage of those times they're able to get to the line. 14 of 15 so far for Sheffield. Manchester 8 of 9. So both shooting well. Sheffield is able to
capitalise. Yeah, absolutely.
Aboado gets the first. Aboado with a 27-point game against the Leicester Riders just before the international break in Manchester's last game. Hits the second.
I mean, that's a homegrown player delivering on the big stage.
It certainly is. Oh, what a pass from Mullings over to Harrison. Megan Mullings out there playing volleyball.
That was incredible transition offense there. The way Sheffield are pushing the ball at the moment is really giving them this advantage.
10 seconds left in the half. Manchester can hold for the last possession. East. 3 seconds. East steps back. Oh, blocked by Lewis. And at the end of the first half, it is a 10-point lead for the Sheffield Hatters over Manchester, 49-39. Leading the way for the Hatters, it's Shauna Harrison with 10 points personal, along with 2 rebounds. And Georgia Gale adding in 7 points and 3 assists. And then for Manchester basketball, Tiara East, 15 points and 2 steals. Irene Aboado adding in 9 points and a rebound. And it's been 16 points in the paint for Sheffield compared to Manchester's 12. But Manchester struggling a bit with those fouls, Hannah.
They are. They're not as disciplined, I think, as they have been. But I think what's really killing them right now is they're not seeing these.
So we're going to go over courtside to Dan.
Shauna, a 10-point lead at halftime. What's your reflection on the performance?
My reaction is Manchester came to play. I mean, we knew they were going to. It's their home court. They want to do it for their fans, but we brought the crowd and we're here to push as hard as we can. We said we're going for, and we're starting off like we're getting that second one today.
Defensively, you guys were very strong, but you've also put 49 points on the board, doing it at both ends.
Yeah, I mean, in practice, we've been running over their plays, our plays, perfect the little details, both on defense and offense, and we're doing that, so.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Harrison there, and she certainly mentioned, you know, they have been doing it on offense and defense, as we can see there. 5 made threes for Sheffield at halftime, shooting 63% and then 47% from the field. Manchester actually winning the battle of the boards here, 20-19.
It has, yeah, they have. And I think it's those transition points that Sheffield are getting. They're pushing the ball up the floor so quick. They're not giving Manchester a chance to breathe.
So we're going to head back over to Drew and Azania. Tell us what they think of the game so far. Over to you, Drew.
Thanks, guys. 10-point deficit for Manchester. It started off a little bit sloppy. Talk about, is it down to that environment? Or you also mentioned there was an international break before today.
there was. You know, both teams only got 2 practices in before this final. That is key. But I love how Manchester have come back out in that second quarter. I thought it was important. The ladies talked about the nerves potentially, but they doubled up in their scoring. 14 points in that first quarter and then went for 25. But great game, really good energy. We were worried a little bit of a blowout there, but Manchester answered the call.
Yeah, let's elaborate and talk about how Manchester was able to grow into this game, because we were concerned in the beginning. We talked about that defensive game plan. 49 points is a little bit too much given up Sheffield, but the energy and effort that Manchester showed.
Yeah. Well, we knew that, right? We knew how great Sheffield have been. They came out early, Sheffield. I thought they were strong. They got what they needed. East, though, on for Manchester has been amazing. But here, Mullins kind of struggled around the rim, but got herself back into rhythm. Chantel Charles dropping off a good couple of assists. So, what else? What else do you want from a cup final? Is exactly this energy.
Yeah, but one thing that does concern me, when I look at Sheffield roster and I go down and I can see potentially 8 or 9 players that can give you 15 or more. Yeah. On Manchester, I'm concerned, where do they generate points here in the second half?
Points, but also foul trouble. Foul trouble. Referee, we didn't come to
3
watch you
players
play.
on 3 fouls here in the first half.
Yeah, that's massive, a big difference. And you're right, who's going to step up? They've got East, but they need more. Abodo has been fantastic, young rising star. I thought she's been excellent. But when you look at the bench, they struggle, but they're going to have to manage the fouls. Do they go into a zone? Do they change up and protect those 3 players that are in foul trouble?
Well, there is plenty more to break down, so don't you move. For now, we're going to send you over to our halftime content, and we'll see you back.
Super League basketball is leveling up British youths. This isn't just a league, it's a movement you can feel and see in the stands. From the first tip to the final buzzer, the story is written. Every drive, every shot, and every moment. Rivalries run deeper, games hit harder. One pass, one dunk, everything can shift. Legacies aren't given here, they're earned. New stories are ready, and new champions are coming. Season 2 is here. Stand tall for British basketball.
We're very resilient. We've had a lot of challenges, a lot of ups and downs, but when we've stepped on the court, we've united, we've come together, and we seem to be able to put 40 minutes together.
When you're doing well, people are coming to knock you down, so people tend to play harder and want to beat you, so we're always facing high level of competition. So we just have to respect the opposition, focus, prepare for each game, and, you know, hopefully it's a positive outcome.
I grew up playing against Shauna and Georgia, and Ness is my England coach at the European Championships. I've kind of always been against them, and we've always been fighting, so to be now sharing a court with them and Ness being my coach, playing against Manchester almost feels wrong. You know, my family are definitely, don't want to say they're rooting for Manchester and Ollie, but they're like, you've kind of gone to the dark side. But yeah, no, I'm really excited.
I feel like on any given day, anybody can drop 20. I think that's what makes us so hard to play against, is you can't just scout 1 or 2 people. And it's not even people that are in the starting 5. People that come off the bench can also be like a big addition to us. And I think we are very athletic, we're long, which means we can switch, we can get out and run. So again, it is so hard to guard.
It's a different feeling playing in an arena. You know, it's the space, the noise, the crowd. And, you know, I think being there before, that it does help with that experience for the players.
Finals are special because you're always trying to play for some more silverware. Everybody wants a title in their bag. And this season we know we can compete for all of them. So I think there's that little added bit of pressure we've put on ourselves to make sure that we do come out on top.
We started off the season pretty short-handed. Offensively, like we moved the ball and we scored well, but then defensively, like we kept Oakland and Leicester to low scoring, which was probably the proudest moment. And we're trying to go more and more into that defensive side, and then offense will just, that's where all the cameras are, and like threes, layups, steals and ones. But the defensive side is what we're pushing right now.
Manchester is special, and because it is our hometown, and I have some family here too, so they being able to play in front of my nephew. He just turned 2 too. It's been a privilege. I think I only ever won one cup game in my whole career, so they're not really easy to come by, because they are in most leagues they are one and done. So to even reach the final is amazing. We have to play our best basketball, but so does Sheffield, and if we stay together, we stick together, we'll be fine.
We like to play fast, but we also like to play control basketball when the time is right. And we're trying to rep the home city, and it's not going to be an easy game. Sheffield is a great team, so we're just going to try to hopefully all our fans will come out and support us and just bind together as a team and get the dub.
We've had it in the calendar all year, and we're quite realistic. Okay, can we get there game by game? And then when the opportunity arose, I was like, wow, okay, we're in Manchester. I'm from Manchester, so it's really cool to have that final here. And then for the club as well, we're growing as a club year by year, and now we've got the Manchester final. We can show what we're about.
I went to my first ever concert. This is embarrassing. I went to a Hannah Montana concert there when I was super young. So yeah, I've been to the AO a bunch of times, so it's really cool to play there. Obviously, this is the first final that's in Manchester. Yeah, no, my best friend is the head coach from Manchester. It's in my hometown. It definitely feels a bit extra special to me. Feels weird being on the opposite side for Yorkshire. But I grew up knowing Ness, Georgia, Shauna, so it definitely feels like a little hometown final for me, for sure. Any real Manchester kids will know I grew up playing at Amici, and going after school every day, playing at Wally Range, and yeah, now having Amici and getting the National Basketball Performance Centre and having now a final in Manchester, I don't know, it's starting to get a buzz around the city, and yeah, no, I'm really excited. And for me, it's really cool to see a Manchester team also in the final. I've been in this league, I don't want to admit for how many years, and I've attended a lot of finals. I've actually done every venue, and that was my first ever win. And to have that with a club that's kind of been close to my heart since I was younger was really, really special. So I want another one, I'm chasing it. Winning at Manchester, it's got to be top, because I think for me, winning at Birmingham, because it was my first ever final win, was first. So just for sentimental reasons, I think getting this one in Manchester would have to be top.
Super League basketball is leveling up British youths. This isn't just a league, it's a movement you can feel and see in the stands. From the first tip to the final buzzer, the story is written. Every drive, every shot, and every moment. Rivalries run deeper, games hit harder. One pass, one dunk, everything can shift. Legacies aren't given here, they're earned. New stories are ready, and new champions are coming. Season 2 is here. Stand tall for British basketball.
Welcome back to the AO Arena, where the Braun Sheffield Hatters lead Manchester basketball 49-39. Sheffield 20 minutes away from that quest of a clean sweep. But the home team, Manchester basketball, has been showing that energy and effort, and they are not going out without a fight. Tiara East leading the way, but a little foul trouble from the home team. How will they overcome? Well, we have 20 minutes of exciting basketball to see who will walk away as the 2026 Cup Finals champions. And see, we talked about it earlier about Sheffield and their talent. We talked about Georgia Gale. We talked about but it was Harrison that came out of the woodworks in the first half.
Yeah, Harrison, I thought she was excellent. Also been here before, right?
Yes.
But she knocked down her threes, got herself going. I thought she was big in the rebounding game, also getting to the rim. So we asked, they had multiple weapons, right? But she has stepped up and played really well with 11 points.
Yeah, one thing we cannot ignore, we talk so much about wanting to have our own British players. Abolado from Manchester, 17 years old.
Yep, 17. And I spoke to a couple of players. Shanice Beckford-Norton said she's so physical, she's so strong, she drives, and she hits the players, and that's wonderful from a young player.
Well, that is an incredible story. 3 fouls, got to look out for that. But let's hand you back over to our commentary team. Hannah and Kaz, does Manchester have enough in the tank?
Thanks, Drew. So a 10-point lead for Sheffield as we head into the second half. And they've come out with a statement of intent here, Hannah. They have just kept the pressure on. Every time Manchester have chipped into this lead, they've stretched it back out.
They have. Their defence is smothering Manchester. They've really struggled, Manchester, to get the ball over the halfway line. I think that's what's maybe disrupting the flow of their own defence as well. They've picked up some really quick, silly fouls. And I think that, this pressure that Sheffield have put in them under, I think it's really having an impact today.
And Sheffield have spoken about it. Vanessa Ellis has spoken about it. Georgia Gale has, the team have. They are going for the quadruple. They want to win it all this year.
They do. I mean, we spoke about it before, but they are, generation after generation of success. We've had Betty Cadona, Vanessa Ellis, and then Georgia Gale. And I think, this club has history, and they really, really are trying to make their mark in women's basketball.
Since the 1960s, winning trophies, just an absolutely fantastic club. They consistently challenge for silverware. They're consistently near the top of the table, and this season they are top of the table with 12 wins and 2 losses so far.
Yeah, they are, and again, they're just that tough player, tough team to really play against.
So we're back out onto the floor. Manchester with some work to do here in the third quarter, as it's a 49-39 Hatters lead as East has the ball. And Manchester with 3 players on 3 fouls in Aboado, Bracker and East. Sheffield with Eatsworth Yates and Lewis on 3 fouls. So Pearson finds a path, rolls it in. And a good start to the quarter there for Manchester.
Yeah, that's Pearson in there. She's really good at that. She's really composed in these moments.
As Gale, a good start for her to the quarter.
I mean, that's Georgia Gale just being Georgia Gale.
She knocks down threes in her sleep.
She does.
And again, lead is stretched back into double figures as Aboado spins to the basket. Leaves it short. But the young player certainly putting on a show here for the fans in Manchester. And Bracker will pick up her 4th foul after less than a minute here in the third quarter. So Bracker will have to go to the bench. And Eva Karashaita back into the game. That's tough for Manchester.
It is. But I mean, Kaz, I said it before. She can play. We've seen her play an entire half on 4 fouls. She doesn't have to sit on the bench.
Gale into Mullings. Mullings out to Eatsworth Yates. Lewis spins to the basket. Great finish off the glass for Lewis.
Great composure as well there from Sheffield. Just running that clock down, but not, not scaring. Just keeping composure when they're taking that shot.
Yeah, it's very efficient from Lewis that you'll see. As foul goes against Sheffield, they'll pick up their first team foul. And again, that's the experience from Antoinette Lewis. You know, she knows where her defender is. She takes her time taking the shot and then puts the ball in the basket.
Yeah, absolutely. She's just, you can see that experience there, can't you?
So Peterson into Hottinger. Hottinger trying to get past Mullings. Mullings just making a wall. And a travel called against Manchester, and that is Megan Mullings standing in the way.
She's standing her ground. I mean, she really is making that her home. She was not letting Franny get to basket then. But again, that's just showing this intensity that she plays with at both ends of the court. We've seen her drive really aggressively to the basket and then just then defending that paint the way she just did then.
Because a player that people might recognise more from the offensive side, obviously the trophy final MVP where she had 26 points. But as you said, she will do it at both ends of the floor as Gale doesn't get it to drop. Ball's picked up by East. And it's knocked away again. Harrison comes up with it. And Gale calling for it under the basket as Kara Scheiter will be called for the foul. Looks a bit of a case where you almost couldn't stop yourself. She was going quite fast.
Yeah, she was. But I can see Georgia Gale's leaking here. You know, they're looking to have someone leak towards the basket to really get those fast break points.
Balls with Gale. Harrison. Eadsforth Yates. Mullings inside, ball's knocked away by Pearsonin, and Sheffield will have another chance. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Those type of plays are really disruptive when you knock the ball out of bounds like that, as Pearsonin does very well. Oh, Gale inside, lays it in for 2. And Georgia Gale up to 12 points personal. Gives Sheffield the biggest lead of the game so far at 15. Aboado. Pearsonin in the corner. Shots in and out, but Aboado's there for the rebound. It will go out of bounds as she's not able to keep it inside the lines. And Sheffield certainly come out with intent here in the third quarter, keeping that pressure up.
They really haven't taken their foot off the gas at all.
Gale, and a miscommunication on the pass as the ball will go out of bounds.
But again, that's that expectation, that standard that Coach Vanessa Ellis sets. You know, it's part of their culture at Sheffield to play, you know, for over 40 minutes at that intensity. It's such great quality to see.
There's no let-up at all as Kara Scheiter fires the 3. Doesn't fall, and Lewis skies in for the rebound. Sheffield back on the attack as Gale has Mullings inside. And a timeout is called as Sheffield roll in here in the third quarter. And Megan Mullings again, right place, right time for Sheffield. She's up to 8 points personal with a couple of rebounds as well, but her impact, the movement has just been undeniable.
It really has. She reads her defender so well. She's really able to move her body and cut to the basket. It's timing as well. I don't think people realise how hard it is to time those slips. When you set a screen and you're rolling back towards the basket, it really does depend on the timing. If you go too soon, you've missed the pass. If you go too late, your defender's there. So you have to nail it, and she does it with absolute precision.
And what is so impressive about this Sheffield team is we can see their head coach Vanessa Ellis talking to them in that timeout. They are a team that have had roster turnover since last year for returning players, but they play like they've played together for years.
They do, but that's what Sheffield's always done. You know, if you think back to those rosters of, you know, back when I was playing, you know, back in the early 10s, you know, they always felt like they'd been playing for years, and it's just this family-like feel to the team that, again, I think just that chemistry that helps them in these games.
That's a word that you will hear people use all the time when you talk about Sheffield. I know Naomi Campbell certainly says that, and it's fantastic to see on the floor. So Teams back out on court. 58-41, Sheffield leading as Abodo takes it all the way to the rack. And Irene Abodo into double figures for Manchester, 11 points. And Eatsford Yates has Mullings. Mullings stops, spins, off the front of the rim. Abodo with the rebound. And Ciara East goes to the basket and lays in 2 more. And for Manchester here is it, as Mullings finishes under the basket, Georgia Gale with the quarterback pass. And the timing from Gale and Mullings, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think they quieted us down then, didn't they? I mean, I was about to say that Manchester are chipping away at this. You know, they're going back to their game plan, they're driving to basket, but they keep sleeping on these fast break points. You know, it's been happening over and over since the beginning of the game, where they're looking for that long court lob, and Manchester are sleeping on it every time.
Because Mullings is going to be there every single time.
Mullings is, Georgia Gale is. And if there's somebody that will make that pass and execute it, it is Georgia Gale.
Gale joined 4th in the Super League this season in assists per game with 4.5. And her teammate Jess Eatsford Yates also on 4.5 assists. So that's a deadly combination.
It is.
As it's a 15-point Hatters lead. Gale. Eatsford Yates right on cue. 3 is good from outside. And Sheffield with a 14-6 run here in the 3rd quarter. And it was that 3rd quarter in the trophy final where Sheffield really came out with intent, held the Gladiators to a very low score in 3rd. And there's something about that half-time break as the outlet pass to Eatsford Yates. Crisper picks up the loose ball and will have a stop on the floor. So it looked like Sheffield were about to once again get out into transition, but Manchester were able to recover.
Yeah, we're back into it. It was just a bit of a stop then.
Just a stop to make sure everyone's okay. East with the steal, and East in off the glass. And Gale will set things up. Mullings. Eatsford Yates, back to Mullings. Crisper working inside.
But again, we see that ball movement that, you know, every player is working off each other. They're cutting from each other. They're passing off each other.
As Hottinger keeps the ball alive for Manchester. Has Crisper on her. Hottinger. And ball will go the other way. Does Manchester turn it over? And it looks like we'll have a substitution here for Sheffield. Chantal Charles comes into the game and Shauna Harrison will go to the bench. Harrison with 12 points for the Hatters. There's Gale. Lines it up, not that time. And Manchester looking to cut into this deficit. Peartonin steps into the shot, and a big basket there for Vera Peartonin.
Yeah, that's what Manchester needed. They needed that big bucket just to keep themselves on the edge of this game.
And is it a case of, if you're Manchester, you want to try and cut this down to 10 points? You know, get it to that around 10-point single-digit mark?
Yeah, you know, from a coach's perspective, you always say that, you know, the last quarter, if you're within 10 points, you're still in the game.
As Davis' shot spins out, that's unlucky.
They've just got to keep chipping away at this, making those right shots and keeping that composure.
And Crisper doesn't get it to fall, gets her own rebound out to Gale. Gale off the front of the rim, but another chance here for Sheffield as they are getting those offensive rebounds. And Charles steps back, puts it up, puts it in.
What a move from Chantal Charles.
That's an experienced move. The step back takes her time. And the threes are starting to fall now after that first quarter where Sheffield just took the two threes as Gale hands over to Crisper. The ball movement, the pass in from Sheffield.
Yeah, great look there from Georgia Gale. Nice little look inside.
And the flowing ball movement as well from Sheffield. They move the ball very quickly as Peartonen can't answer.
Feels like Manchester are stagnant at the moment. They're just struggling a little bit to get the shot selection off.
As Eadsworth Yates lays into. And a timeout called by Ollie Parr for Manchester Basketball as Sheffield have their biggest lead of the game so far, up 71-50 here in the third quarter. And Sheffield, a team averaging just over 88 points a game so far this season, and then up here in the third, so that they're very close to their average points total.
Yeah, they are, but you can see why as well. They're pushing the ball in transition. They are executing most of the plays at the moment. They're really able to make sure that they're getting the right shot off. And I think for them, Manchester just are sleeping a little too much on this defence. They really need to step it up. If they can claw back 10 points here, and go into that fourth quarter with 10 points, a 10-point deficit, they're still in the game.
21 assists for Sheffield to Manchester's 6. That just shows how they move the ball.
I'm stealing your phrase.
Taking my line.
I'm taking your line. 21-6. I mean, that just shows it. That is clear evidence of how effective they are at moving the ball. They're also making those shot selections. They're making sure that, as a player, okay, I've got an open look, but actually my teammate's got an even better open look. Let's move the ball. Let's shift this defense and get the ball rotating.
It's very much play by committee, isn't it? Every player does what the team needs them to do to win. Do you need me today? Do I need to rebound? Yeah. Today do I need to score? And it's that that combination that works really well. That's just embedded in every Sheffield team that you'll see. So just under 3 minutes to play in the third quarter as Graham called for the foul. Sheffield's second team foul this quarter. That'll give Manchester the ball from the sideline. And we talk about Sheffield being the established team, but Manchester a second season as a franchise. Obviously previously with the Manchester Giants, Manchester Mystics, but the Manchester Basketball franchise is in its second year. And both the women's and men's team in today's cup final as Bratka makes some space. Can't get it to go.
Oh, that's tough. A bounce out there. That was tough. But yeah, you're right, Kaz. I mean, they're a new team. They're really finding their feet. And I think, to make a final in your second year, I mean, what an achievement.
That's huge. As Davis will set things up. Peartonen, and ball's knocked away by Eadsworth Yates. Chased down by Peartonen, but Eadsworth Yates kicks out Graham round to Charles. As the ball's knocked away and we got a foul call. That'll be the fourth against Manchester. And obviously for Manchester, you say a huge achievement to make the a final in only their second season as a franchise. And the last time a Manchester women's team were on this stage, it was in the 2016-17 season in the WBBL, the inaugural cup final where Manchester's current general manager Dominique Allen was named the MVP, so a full circle moment for her.
I mean, that really is.
As Lewis, the strength from Lewis inside, just insisting her way to the basket. Bratka to Obodo. Obodo looking to create some space. Peartonen, quick pass over to Davis. And Obodo will get it back and launches that short.
What a pass, though, there from Davis. I mean, that baseline pass.
Davis has such great court vision as Crisper runs into a wall of Manchester players and an offensive foul is called. So that will give Manchester the ball back.
That was a great read there as well from Abodo. I mean, you know, a young player like that, sometimes it can be a bit difficult to kind of anticipate where to go and to take that charge, but she, you know, she timed it perfectly, got her body in the way and remained disciplined in her posture as well.
Manchester looking to chip into this lead down here in the third quarter. Gamal, Bratka under the basket. Oh, shot pops out again. And Manchester have had a few of those now. They've had the looks, and you think it's going to drop, and sometimes that's just the nature of it.
I mean, it's hard as well, I think, you know, because Bratka's been on the bench now as well, so she might be a bit cold. It can take a while just to kind of get yourself back into a game.
As Lewis blocked by Bratka. A big block from Bratka. We've seen her do that all season long for Manchester.
We have. That's second nature.
And Sheffield go again from the end line. Stubbs looks to get the ball into Lewis. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Back to Stubbs. Stubbs fires. Not that time. And tipped. But it's Manchester that come away with it. That was a great tip there from Sheffield. And Abodo kicks it out to the corner as Gamal can't get the three to fall. Final 30 seconds of the third. Stubbs has Charles. Crisper's there. Back inside to Lewis. Lewis working under the hoop. She's doubled. And a foul against Manchester. So that's their fifth. And that will put Sheffield at the foul line.
Again, though, we can see Sheffield have just used 20 seconds of that offense. They moved the ball. They looked, you know, waited patiently to get Lewis inside. And then it just shows the trust that they have with her as well, to be able to, yeah, we'll give you the ball, get into position and go to work.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
So Lewis doesn't get the first to fall. Previously played for the Newcastle Eagles a few years ago here in the UK. As second doesn't drop, and it's 9 seconds left. Davis to Abodo with 5 seconds, and it's loose. As Lewis to Charles, and Charles won't get it to go at the buzzer. So at the end of the third quarter, Sheffield leading 73-50 here. It's been a really strong run in the third for Sheffield, putting up 24 points to Manchester's 11. And they are 10 minutes away, Hannah, from coming up with their second piece of silverware this season.
Yeah, I mean, they've been so tough. The intensity that they've come out with in this third quarter, they really didn't, you know, let off at all. They've been forcing the pass. They've been forcing those lobs brilliantly. You know, they've been getting those fast break points. But again, we can see here, you know, 84% with their free throws. They've had 19 attempts at the free throw line, which just shows that they're working hard in the paint as well.
And something that's really flipped here in the third quarter. So Sheffield 34 rebounds to Manchester's 25. We saw Manchester just edging it at half-time.
Yeah.
But Sheffield have certainly crashed the boards in the third.
They really have. But, I mean, we can't not talk about those assists. 22 assists to 7. You know, you've got Georgia Gale on 7, Chantal Charles on 4, Eads 48's on 4, Mullins on 4, and it just shows the movement of their offenses and how patient they are and composed they are. And it just probably is a demonstration as well of kind of where they're at as a team as well. You know, they're just that little bit ahead in terms of, you know, they've got that quality to and that experience to their offense.
That familiarity as well that they've been able to build. So teams coming back out on court for the fourth quarter. Sheffield last winning a cup final in the WBBL era in the 2018-2019 season against the Sevenoaks Suns. That was the Helen Naylor 3 with 1.5 seconds left that I just like to go back and watch every so often. As do we have a turnover on the inbound? And it will be Hatter's ball from the sideline. As the referee's just confirming something with the table here. And it is Charles to inbound. Ball's into Graham. Graham pulls up, won't fall. Hottinger coming down the floor. And a good defense there from Graham, knocks the ball away. Manchester will pick it up. But Grace Graham, the hustle out there as Peartonen can't get it to fall. The ball keeps spinning out there for Manchester.
It does, but again, that was some really good ball movement from Manchester.
As Davis forces the turnover and will spin, hangs in the air and lays in two. Jory Davis.
That Showtime play right there.
Crisper to Stubbs. Stubbs pulls up from the foul line. That's not going to fall, but a huge save there from Graham. A jump ball called. And Manchester will have the ball, and we can see there Jory Davis. Oh, that is a perfect spin move.
It is well timed as well. But I just want to mention, Fleur Gamal, she's a little quiet assassin. The way she's able to read those tips, she might not get herself on the scoreboard, but she's so effective at tipping the ball to her teammates and really disrupting the play.
Just reads the pass. She does. As Chantel Charles just shows us right there, gives us a great example of it. Thanks, Chantel. And Manchester will take it from the sideline. It's those plays, aren't they, Hannah? They're very disruptive. They stop the flow of the game and just force your opponent to reset as Peartonen goes inside, gets the roll.
I mean, that was a friendly roll. They got that one.
Stubbs round to Crisper. Graham. And an offensive foul on the floor. Oh, well, not on the floor, against Sheffield. Offensive foul off the ball.
I think it was a moving screen. Wasn't quite set with the feet on that.
And a substitution for Sheffield as Georgia Gale back out onto the floor. Cheyenne Stubbs will go to the bench. And Georgia Gale playing in her 8th season for Sheffield. Obviously a player that came up through the Hatters programme.
Yep, I played against her myself.
As East takes it to the basket. And Ciara East now up to 21 points. And we got a whistle on the floor. Yes, so Sheffield ball.
I think it might have been a warning for touching the ball coming through the net. That's what I'm going with.
That looks right now, you said that.
We'll just go with it.
Gale passing to Lewis. Ball bounces off the back iron, but Lewis can't get it together the second time, and Gamal's there for the rebound.
Another big rebound there from the youngster.
As ball's forced out of bounds, it will be Manchester possession. And Davis will take it from the sideline for Manchester. East. And backcourt violation will be called. Oh no, that will be a foul call. Looks initially like it might be a backcourt, but that's a foul against Charles. So Manchester take it from the sideline. So 2 team fouls for Sheffield here in the 4th quarter. As Davis looks to get the ball in. Hottinger's there. Back to Davis. Davis. 7 seconds on the clock. Out to Gamal. Gamal going inside. Banks in 2. And the youngster gets onto the scoreboard here at the AO Arena.
That was a great drive.
As at the other end, the stop from Manchester and Hottinger. Hottinger needs some help. And Manchester will need to get it over the halfway line. They will. Hottinger calling for it, but you can see that the double team as the ball is tipped into the hands of Charles, and Peartonen whistled for the foul.
I think you could just see that. I'm just reading the faces of Manchester. They're kind of second-guessing themselves a little bit. You know, they're not as confident making some of these passes over, and it's just a demonstration of how tough the Sheffield defence is. You know, they're so tough and so aggressive that Manchester are second-guessing themselves.
Because is it a case of it's throwing out of your rhythm? You're like, we know what we want to do, but, oh, Georgia Gale's going to be there for the seal. Megan Mullings is going to be there.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. And it can be really disruptive. And then throw in the mix of the foul and the foul trouble that you're in, it can...
I mean, you can see there, Sheffield making it difficult to even get it over the halfway line.
And then Flirt, second guessing that pass into Pearson. Franny was also open under the basket, but it was kind of a quick decision of where's the safest option, not even where the best option is, but what's the safest option to get this ball.
And also, you have someone in your line of vision. It can make it very difficult when you've just got arms waving in your face.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, though, that's just shown kind of how prepared Sheffield were today to come in with this intensity and this really tough defence. They've been doubling down on players. They've been rotating so effectively that it's just been so hard for Manchester to not only get a pass off, but even just to move themselves. You know, I think a lot of players sometimes, we can underestimate how important off-ball movement is, and that's something that Sheffield have really put a stop to for Manchester. They've not been able to get into any flow, and they've just not had that opportunity to, you know, set any screens or look for any of those backdoor cuts as well.
And we can see that the Sheffield crowd on the screen always travel well to the Sheffield fans. Got some great support here over in Manchester. As we're back on the floor with 7 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Lewis kicks it out. Mullings round to Gale. That's too much space for Georgia Gale. She's going to make you pay if you give her an inch of daylight. And Georgia Gale, having made made a 3 in 83 of her last 93 league games. She is an absolutely fantastic shooter from outside.
Can I ask how you got that stat?
I went through a lot of game logs looking for it.
Yeah, I thought that would be it.
So a foul called on the floor. And we can see there, oh, what a shot from Gale. Just the range she has. And Georgia Gale now up to 15 points for Sheffield, has hit 3 threes. She has 7 assists. Last year's playoff finals MVP is really putting on a show today. Harrison, oh, Manchester caught sleeping under the basket as Lewis puts in 2 more. And Antoinette Lewis up to 11 points for the Hatters. Stretches the lead back up to 20. Pottinger, hands off to Pearsonin. Gamal. Davis has it. Davis with the long 2, nets it.
She's had some great shots tonight, Jory Davies. She's just been really composed as well, and she's been finding those spots that she just feels comfortable in.
Davies is a real all-round player for Manchester. We often see her maybe not scoring as much, but a player that can score when she needs to. As Lewis fading away, not that time. Davis will set things up, the ball's knocked away, and Sheffield come up with another turnover, and who's there? Megan Mullings. Out into transition. And again, it's that passing from Sheffield. They are running the floor as Davis pulls up from 3. It's off the back iron. And Gale finds Charles. Whistle goes against Manchester. That's their 3rd team foul. Georgia Gale with 15 points and 7 assists, Hannah, 2 rebounds. And she's the engine of this team, isn't she?
Yeah, she absolutely is. She's got that communication as well with every single one of her teammates, and she can read where they're going to be on court at all times. If you watch her when she's looking for the passes, she's anticipating where her teammates are going. And that's just a really clever skill.
There's Gale with the short jumper, gets the bounce, and she's up to 17. And you talk about Gale knowing where her teammates are, her teammates know where she's going to be. Obodo works against Eastford Yates. Good screen there from Bracker as Obodo takes it all the way to the basket.
With a hand in the face as well there from Megan Mullins.
And Obodo up to 13 for Manchester. East will knock the ball out of bounds. And Sheffield take it from the end line. And Sheffield now having around 6 points away from their average here. We've got just over 4 minutes to play. As Gale dancing around the outside, steps back. And Georgia Gale, show them what you can do. 20 points for Gale. She loves this stage. She loves the big moments.
She does, and she can perform as well. Like, she really can just bring it to these games.
Obodo looks to answer and does! Irene Obodo, remember the name. The 17-year-old. And Mullings fouled from behind, so that will put Manchester on 4 team fouls.
But what a way to answer it from a 17-year-old. You know, at this level, performing like that is just incredible.
It's absolutely amazing. We can see there Gale's step back, splashing it in.
Stunning, absolutely stunning. That footwork.
As Mullings gets the first to go. Mullings, a 32.16 rebound game against the Leicester Riders in November. 2nd in blocks in the league and 3rd in 2-point percentage. A really efficient player as she gets the second. Takes the Hatters up to an 87-65 lead. Obodo to East. East with 21 points, leading the way for Manchester as Bracker finds a way to the basket. And that's what Manchester have missed with Bracker having to sit with those 4 fouls.
Yeah, they have.
Lewis. Ball drops into the hands of Gale. She saves it in. And hi, Shauna.
I got so excited. I thought we were getting involved in that.
That was a great save from Shauna Harrison. She saved us, not the ball.
She absolutely did save us. I'll tell her thank you after the game.
She's putting her body on the line to keep us safe. Thank you, Shauna Harrison. So Manchester will go from the sideline. It's a 20-point Hatters lead. And Sheffield, a team that were here this time last year, Hannah, came up short against the Oaklands Wolves as East can't get it to go, gets her own rebound and banks it in. Eastford Yates to Mullings. Back to Eastford Yates. And we'll see her right into the game for the first time. Wright turned 17 earlier this month as Obodo keeps it alive for Manchester, tips it to Bracker, and Bracker adds 2 for Manchester.
I mean, what a tip that was.
Eastford Yates, a deep 3. And Wright picks up the rebound. Sheffield moving the ball well here. Wright left alone, can't get it to go. And the basketball IQ from Shauna Harrison. Throws the ball off Manchester, so Sheffield will have possession, but we will have a timeout called here.
That was, bad luck there, because that was a great box out from Kari Scheiter. I mean, not to get rewarded at the end there is tough.
So as I was saying, Anna, Sheffield here this time last year against the Oaklands Wolves at the cup final in Nottingham. They came up short. Vanessa Ellis said, okay, we learn from it, we move on. And then they come back to the cup final here and they're just 2 minutes and 5 seconds away from their second piece of silverware this season.
I mean, they're doing it, aren't they? They said they wanted the 4, and I think, you know, a team like Sheffield, they have that mentality of like when they want something, they go for it, and they have that. They not only have that expectation from everyone else, but they also set themselves that expectation as well. They hold themselves to a very high standard, which I think is just a testament to kind of the culture of the club, you know. But again, today's game, they've just taken it possession by possession. They've really held on to that intense defense throughout the whole 38 minutes so far. But, you know, and I think for them, they really have played fantastically. They've been so tough on rebounding and going after the boards, but it's just these assists, Cad. 27 assists. I mean, talk about an unselfish basketball team. I mean, that is serious team effort from them today.
It's so nice to watch.
It's
flowing, it's
really
free-flowing, and it's pinpoint passes. So back on the floor, 2 minutes, 3 seconds to play, and it's Sheffield ball. And they are very close to picking up their second piece of silverware this season. And 2 seconds on the shot clock, so they'll need to get something up, and time will run down. And it will be Manchester ball. And for Manchester, they've done a fantastic job, as you said, of club in their second season as a franchise to get to the final, to get this experience. An experience on this stage in front of such a huge crowd here at the AO Arena.
Exactly.
That's going to be something they'll take through the course of the season.
Oh, exactly. You know, and they can use it as well. You know, they know what it's like to be here now. So for them, it's just about making sure they get back here.
As Bratka has to put something up, can't get it to go. It's exactly what Vanessa Ellis said last year, isn't it? We learn from it, we move on, and we take that. And then you see how successful Sheffield has been. As Wright has space and nails it! Ella Wright! What a shot for the young player. And it looks like Mullings was just caught there off the ball. Looks like Mullings took a fall. Not sure.
Just a slight knock.
Looks like she's okay as she gets back up. But Wright is just, they're daring her to shoot, and she does. And that's a great shot from Ella Wright.
But again, also to show that confidence that you have in your younger players as well. That's so invaluable to these players just coming through the programme.
Yeah, and a player that's playing for the under-18 Hatters this season. She's been averaging 16.4 points, dropped 33 against Newcastle. So she is a scorer, and seeing her on this stage, it's great to see the development of the youth programme in Sheffield. As Hottinger passes back to Bratka. And was that a 3-second call?
It was.
So 3-second call goes against Manchester. Final minute of the fourth quarter, and there's been some performances out there for Sheffield. If we look down the score sheet, 4 players in double figures.
And a double-double from Antoinette Lewis as well.
11 points and 10 rebounds for Lewis as the ball's knocked away by Hottinger.
She's been so key to their defence. Like, she's been really tough. 9 defensive rebounds. She's just been so tough and aggressive.
As the Boado can't get it to drop. Crisper. And who touched that last? That was last touch Manchester. So Sheffield ball. And Sheffield, they are going to do exactly what they have set out to do today. They've come out strong, come out with intensity against Manchester basketball.
They've come out with a determination as well. Like, it really has come across that they are gunning for this. They are going for those 4 titles.
So Manchester will have the last possession of the game, but the Sheffield Hatters seconds away. Obodo dancing round the outside, will take it, blocked by Mullings, and as time runs down, that will do it. The Sheffield Hatters are your 2026 Cup Final winners. 90-71 over Manchester Basketball. They said they are going for all 4 titles. They pick up the Cup Final win behind an emphatic performance from Georgia Gale. 20 points, 7 assists. Megan Mullings with 15 points, 6 rebounds and 5 assists. And Antoinette Lewis adding in a double-double of 11 points and 10 rebounds. You can see the team there out on floor celebrating with Vanessa Ellis. And what a performance from Sheffield. What a well-deserved win.
It really was. I mean, you can see why they are one of the most successful clubs in the country. You know, they were just took it by possession after possession. They were so composed, but they still played with that aggression. They were really tough on defense, making sure that, you know, Manchester really were caught out on any of those kind of bad decisions that they made. And I think it was just really hard for Manchester to find those gaps today. But yeah, Sheffield just doing what they do.
And they played their game. They stuck to their game plan. They disrupted Manchester. And they came out on top. So we're going to go over courtside with Dan.
Well, just talk us through that, winning not only the cup, but winning here in Manchester for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit extra special. I definitely feel like I'm on the dark side, but we're 2 for 2, so I couldn't be happier.
And what a tremendous performance from the team, everybody contributing today.
I think that's what makes us really dangerous. Like, people try to scout us, but you shut down one person on the night, the other person shows up, so that makes us dangerous for sure.
And defensively excellent, particularly in that third quarter where you really squeezed the life out of them.
Oh, I don't know, I had 3 fouls pretty early, but no, that gets my game going, and if I can get stops for this team, that's my role, and yeah, I love playing defense.
Congratulations, enjoy the celebrations.
Jess Eadsforth-Yates there really summing it up. She's right, you try and stop one player, someone else is going to step into that role.
Yeah, she is, she's right. And that's the thing when you've got a bench like Sheffield, that each one can come back and, you know, really step it up.
And we're going to go back courtside. Dan has Vanessa Ellis.
Vanessa, congratulations, another trophy in the books. What was your reflection on that performance?
I think it was a steady performance from us. I don't think we reached our full level potential. Manchester made it hard. You know, they're tough. But, you know, we did enough. We're deep enough and did enough to win the game.
Defensively really good, particularly in that third quarter.
Yeah, that's what we talked about at half-time. And the players stepped up and made it difficult for Manchester to score. We always know we can, so that was the difference, I think.
Chance to get some more silverware. Go and get your hands on it.
Thank you.
Vanessa Ellis there, and Vanessa Ellis obviously used to play for the Sheffield Hatters, has had more than 50 caps for England and won 30 or more trophies, more than 30 trophies with the Hatters as a player before she took over in that head coaching role in 2000 for the Hatters, and she's just established so much in this club.
Yeah, she has, and I think the club as a whole as well, I think, you know, they really are, you know, they've helped build women's basketball in this country.
And we'll see teams out on the floor as we will have the presentations, we'll have the runners-up medals, and then the winners' medals before we hear the MVP announced. So first up for the runners-up medals, it will be Manchester Basketball. And they'll go and collect their medals. And for Manchester, it was a strong performance from them. They obviously came up against an incredibly tough Sheffield team, but Manchester outscoring Sheffield in the fourth quarter, 21-17.
Yeah, they did. I mean, you had 23 points from Tiara East. She was really tough at driving that to basket, finding those open lanes and absorbing that contact. And again, the young Irene Aboado, I mean, how exciting is it to watch her play?
The future is so bright really for Irene Aboado. 16 points for Aboado and 2 rebounds.
And I have to say, I mean, they did well with their... They improved on their rebounding. I mean, they still only had 9 offensive rebounds, which, you know, is an improvement from the semi-finals. 6 rebounds, I think it was. But, you know, they had some great looks inside. They got 36 points from the paint. Yeah, I think for them, they really worked hard. And like we said, we've said it over and over again, but it's their second year in the league, you know, and to make the final in your second year, you know, with a new roster, new coaching staff, it's just a testament to kind of the management at that club as well.
Absolutely. And we will now see Sheffield come and collect their winners' medals. And they're led by Captain Shauna Harrison. And Harrison with a really strong start to the game for Sheffield as well. She came out with those early points, those quick 7 points she had for Sheffield in the first quarter, finishing with 12, 3 rebounds and 3 assists. But again, just doing a bit of all that hard work off the ball.
I think her strong physical presence just adds that energy and momentum to the game. You know, coming in and being tough, it then kind of proves to your other teammates as well, like, oh, okay, here we go, we're going, let's step this up, let's go. And that's what Shauna Harrison's really good at doing.
It's leading by example, isn't it? Out on the
it really is, yeah.
And we will have the announcement of the MVP. I mean, it's a tough task to choose from. So many Sheffield players having absolutely fantastic games. 4 players in double figures.
Your MVP finishes with 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 20 points from the Braun Sheffield Hatters, number 7.
And the MVP is Georgia Gale. 20 points, 7 assists, and 2 rebounds for Gale, hitting 4 threes. A well-deserved MVP for Gale. The heartbeat of this Sheffield Hatters team.
Absolutely, but I mean, I think for me, there was 7 assists that are what a proof of, you know, how valuable she is as a player. The way she was able to move the ball, look for those teammates, whilst also putting 20 points of her own on the board. I mean, what a performance!
And they weren't like a quick little pass. No. They were pinpoint passes.
They were
full court passes. Knows exactly where her teammates will be. And a player that spent 8 seasons playing in the top flight league for the Hatters, picking up her MVP trophy. She was the playoff final MVP last year, and she is just consistently excellent out on the floor for the Hatters.
Yeah, she is, and I think that's again something that really kind of is an attribute to them as a team and as a club.
So Georgia Gale and Captain Shauna Harrison will take the trophy over to the team, and the Sheffield Hatters are your 2026 Cup Final winners with a win over Manchester Basketball. A well-deserved win for the Hatters. They make it 2 from 2 this season. Trophy final winners, Cup final winners. What's next, Hannah?
I'm excited to see Kaz. I really am, and I think it's going to be really exciting to see how they get ahead of that as well.
The Hatters, they have said they have a mission this season. They want the quadruple. They want 4 pieces of silverware. The trophy, the cup, the league, the playoffs, and they are halfway there. And what a story it's been just for the Sheffield Hatters organisation. Betty Cardona and the Betty Cardona Trophy named after her, for Sheffield to take that in January for the first time since it was named after Betty Cardona. Yeah. That's a really special thing
really
for the club.
And it must be special for the family as well, you know, to really honour her history and honour what she's done for British basketball, for women's British basketball. But like we said, you know, they've been winning, they've been going since 1960s, and they're still going, and they are hoping to even, you know, really set themselves in history, set the stone for history for them. I think they've been brilliant.
So what a win for the Sheffield Hatters, a huge win. 2 pieces of silverware so far. We're going to go back over to Drew and Azania to get their thoughts on just an absolutely fantastic game.
Thank you very much, Kaz. Z, there is many ways that we can break this down, but the one thing that comes to my mind first is the depth for the Sheffield Hatters.
Yeah, they really went multiple players, you know. We talked about Mullings maybe coming off that MVP, but no, it's Georgia Gale. She comes in, scores well. Harrison as well. Multiple players in double digits. They were fantastic. They were dominant. And you talked about that dynasty. Oh, it's starting all right.
Well, you talk about the 6 9 out of 10 play. Oh, here we go right here, the MVP. We're just bragging on you guys. Describe right now, what does it feel like inside?
I mean, I'm elated. I might not look like it. I'm a little bit tired.
You're not getting too used to this, are you?
I think we are. The goal was 4 trophies, so we're on our way to that.
Oh, well done. And I thought just your, experience here, just talk about leading this team, and also you've talked big talk. You want 4 trophies, so just talk about your leadership and, for your team.
Well, it's been quite an easy team to lead, to be honest. We're quite a mature team, we're a little bit older. So, to be honest, everybody comes to work every day, everybody wants to be there, everybody works hard. It's an easy team to lead. So, with that aside, we just come out and play hard together.
And we reflect a year ago, you guys actually lost in the Cup. Since then, you ran off 3 consecutive finals. What did you learn from that moment a year ago after that loss?
We just didn't come to play, and we have to come in with confidence. As soon as that ball goes up, we have to be ready to play. And I think against Oakland, we stepped off. You need to put it up in gear and get ready to go.
Well, one thing that we can't ignore that the conversation has to start beginning is your personal legacy. What do you want that to be?
I just want to leave the basketball better than when I found it. My nan did so much for the game, and I don't think I can ever do that. But if I can put a little imprint on the game, then I'll be happy.
Yeah, but 20 points as well. I saw a nice little one-on-one 3, Georgia Girl. Just talk about, 45%. You're shooting so well from the 3-point line. Give me a little bit of that.
For me, shooting is a confidence thing. Yeah. I know in the warm-up if I'm going to shoot well or not.
Really? Did you feel that today?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
they were going in, so I was all right.
Yeah.
But sometimes, in the warm-up, I'm like, oh, God, it's not a shooting day today. So today it was, luckily.
Yeah, lovely. Well, congratulations, MVP. Well deserved.
Thanks,
Very
guys.
much deserved. Last question, where is the party at tonight?
I want to come.
Wherever the alcohol is.
Well, you go get a head start, go celebrate with your teammates. Congratulations, we appreciate you.
Save us a drink.
Thanks, guys.
Z, Georgia Gill, I want you to talk about her evolution because she was always known as a shooter, but the last couple of years we've seen her add things to her game, specifically the assist that we saw here tonight.
Did she have 7 assists as well? But also she talked about the confidence, but how deep she shoots the ball. Not a lot of players, feel that they can hit that down, but also the passing ability. Her eyes are up, and I've managed to play with Georgia a few seasons with Great Britain. I feel like she's just grown and grown, and she talked about the confidence. She leads this team. That's an excellent performance from her this evening.
We talked about at the very top. The thing that I was concerned about was not only stopping this juggernaut, but I said that you had to keep scoring. Rakta, Hottinger, 12 points combined.
Yeah, and they averaged 16 points and 19 points apiece. So when you get them to on the bench, they had foul trouble. That's it. That's most of their scoring. And they just really struggled, didn't they? And from the third quarter, it was a 24-11 third quarter, and then the fourth, Manchester went on that 8-0 run, and then it was game over.
Yeah, and how did they bounce back from this? Obviously, having this, it was unprecedented, playing in this arena in the city. What's next for Manchester basketball?
I think it is. It's hard to bounce back, but also you got to remember what got you here. Keep working. There's still the playoffs, and there's still to come. So I feel like they can draw confidence from this. But Sheffield is for theirs to take. I love that they've spoken up and said we want all 4 trophies, and they're going for it.
Well, let's touch on that because the last team to do it was someone named Azania Stewart was part of that team. Well, they're in the driver's seat now. Do you foresee them walking away with all 4 trophies?
Absolutely. Who's going to stop them? I just think they're so strong across the board. Lovely players, coach really well. They take their time in offense. I saw a little double screen down, their action, they're executing. These are all the fine pieces to be a 4-peat type of team.
Well, that is it here from the AO Arena. What an event we have for the women's SLB Cup final, but we are not done yet. We must see if Sheffield continues the story on May 17th down in London at the O2 Arena. But that's not it for British basketball. We got the men's final coming your way on air at 4:15, so make sure you come back and visit us. For now, myself, Drew Lasker, Azania Stewart, the team behind us, the beautiful Dream Team, we say goodbye for now and see you very shortly.